Cheyanna and the Holy Horse. Read by the author, me, Will Shep. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Rodeo. I love my old horse Rocky. He's strong, smart, and the most beautiful horse alive, with his black winter coat. The summer sun turns his hair almost purple. He would like the sunsets. I'd give anything to ride him today instead of the buckskin, maybe. Rocky's my best friend. He's a friend who never gets tired of doing all the listening, and I never get tired of doing all the talking. He never complains, and thank God for that. Wouldn't that be funny, my horse rolling his eyes at me like my big brother Jackson does for talking too much? Imagine if he'd be flaring his nostrils, blowing slobber all over himself, and sticking his chin out at me. No way. Rocky would never do that. Rocky's the best friend a teenage girl could have, and more. He's my family. We call him the Rock for a reason. He's never gotten sick, never been crippled. Dad says he's the Rock because he's never been hurt a day in his life. Rocky's still running free in the south pasture, grazing there in order to save on hay, and leaving either Maybe or my other horse, Bucky, as my only options to ride today. I hold my breath as I climb in the saddle, because Maybe might buck. Hours into the ride up Rattlesnake Ridge, Jackson and I find two bulls behind the tall brush and turn them down the mountain slope toward our remote ranch home. Keep these boys moving, Cheyanna. I'll ride the next ridge and see if there are any others, Jackson says as he swings in the saddle. He points his horse west and hollers, "Be right back. Keep 'em moving, sis." I trot Maybe around the bulls to burn off his extra energy and to keep him from rushing the young animals through the rocks. For a mountain slope, it's normal to imagine green pine trees and aspen, but not this mountain. Here we're talking the edge of Wyoming's Rocky Mountains, where sagebrush grows above your horse's head along with greasewood and buckbrush that'll tear your legs apart at a trot. Boulders are scattered, and the powdered sugar-like sand is so fine that when the wind blows you have no choice but to stand still. Laced in white, my breath is defined in the cool afternoon air, despite the sunshine ablaze overhead. I wish I'd worn my heavier coat, and dang, stupid me, a pair of gloves would have been nice. It's springtime weather in the mountains, which is never predictable. As that thought crosses my mind, Maybe spooks up the hill for no apparent reason. This horse needs no reason to spook, aside from a subtle breeze ruffling his mane, or a sparrow landing nearby. He dips his head down, his ears lie back as I struggle to pull his head up. With grit in my eyes, I shove my warm boots further into the stirrups and grab hold of Maybe's black mane. The buckskin twirls around. He points his shoulders down the slope. I reach for the saddle horn and grab it at empty air. Smack! Air escapes my lungs. With a humph, Maybe's back arches. He lunges once, then again, and another leap knocks my breath from my chest. I regain my seat in the saddle. Clutching the saddle horn, I pull Maybe's head around, just as he jerks to the right. In one blink, Maybe launches me toward the pale sky, so high I feel I could almost touch the plane passing overhead. Gravity, though, is my foe, and down I smash to the cold, hard earth. Laying motionless, humiliated, and angry upon the rocks, I look up, wishing I could be one of the passengers in that plane overhead, headed anywhere. My new black Stetson hat rests a step away, the top smashed in with the imprint of a horse's shoe. My breath slows, my heart continues to race, as I think of what would have happened if my head had been in that hat when Maybe stepped on it. My wrist throbs. A lone wolf howls from across the ridge. Another, much closer wolf drones to reply. I stand up to scan the hillside. Over my shoulder, I see that blasted mule of a horse watching me. "You're done. It's time for a trip to the sale barn," I tell him as I rub my arm. I try to wiggle my fingers and say, "You always were better to look at than to ride." I edge closer and stand beside the buckskin. Take a deep breath and gnaw my lip. No sign of Jackson yet, and I know I need to find the two young bulls that disappeared when I fell. Dad'll be furious with me if I lose 'em. I lean over and grab one loose rein with my good hand. Where's Jackson? I pull my phone from my denim jacket pocket. My hand begins to tingle as I attempt to text. I move my fingers as much as the pain allows. After I hit send, I gather the second rein and stuff both in my rhinestone hip pocket. "I can't ride you," I say to Maybe. I lead him down the slope, picking and choosing my footing. Makes the travel slow. Maybe constantly tries to overcome me and leave. On I walk, wishful but doubtful of seeing my two bulls again. Dusk creeps on, and I turn Maybe and toss a rein over each of his shoulders. I have to find those two bovines. Exhaling through clenched teeth, I gather all the courage I have left and grab the saddle horn. Pulling the reins short, I jab my square-toed boot through the stirrup and climb into the saddle. As I hunt for signs of my two strays, Jackson gallops up the slope. "Hurry up, sis," he hollers. "Francis and Sport came to help. We've got your boys at the windmill." "I got your message." Jackson rides up beside me. His smile disappears. "Dumped ya. You hurt bad?" I nod. Jackson slows to a walk. "Mom'll be home soon. She sent me a text, too. She bought 2 horses. We can finally quit this buckskin beauty. He's better suited for the movies, don't you think?" We see Mom's headlights blinking between cottonwood trees along the highway, though the barn and corrals are just a few hundred yards from the house. Dad, Jackson, and I await her arrival near the open barn doors. We're always on the lookout for the perfect bell racing horse, Mom and I. We're always coming home empty-handed. I hope she finally found the perfect one. I would have been there to choose with her if it hadn't been for school. I love the rodeo. I'm sure I do. Well, I think I do. Everyone loves the rodeo. The adrenaline, the excitement, the crowds. No, I hate the crowds. And of course the winning. It hasn't happened for me, the winning, but there's that chance. Mom and Dad are both rodeo champs. That's how they met. Mom says the winning is the best. I'm really just happy here at home riding through the hills. I love the open country, the wildflowers, and best of all, there are no people. I hate all those people watching me ride. That's the worst. I prefer to be just my horse Rocky and me. We stand on the line of the old log barn. Waiting, I jump up and down because I'm cold, not because I'm excited to see the new horses. In fact, the idea of a new horse depresses me because it means it's time to give up old Rocky. I bet Jackson can't wait to tell Mom about my impromptu rodeo in the rocks on Crazy Maybe. Any horse will be an improvement over him after today's fiasco. We want them to keep them separate down here for a couple weeks. They might have picked up an illness from the sale barn, Dad explains to us as if we don't know. "We know, Dad," Jackson says, and reminds Dad that we're both teenagers now and have seen many horses bought through the sale barn. I stand shivering as Jackson comes close and bumps my shoulder. He slugs me softly and says, "Come on, sis, put up your dukes. Box with me, it'll keep you warm." He bounces around, not waiting for my reply. Says, "Dad checked you out, your arm's not broke. Cheer up and box with me." Finally, the truck is creeping up the lane. "Knock it off, Jackson." I roll my eyes. "Oh, man. Hurry up and get here, Mom."